order. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to consider and act upon the minutes of March 6th, March 27th, April 17th, and May 1st, 2023?
I'll move that. So moved.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none. Is there any discussion from the public on this item? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Very good. Thank you. I just want to, for the record, we have resignations from Joanne Romano, Kanka, from the Affordable Housing Committee. We have a resignation from Jay Behan from the Bike and Ped, and resignation of Christopher Veras from Land Acquisition. I just want to thank them for their service on those boards, and want to ask for a motion on item number 5. We have 3 appointments. It's up to you both, but can we just take them together?
I have no problem taking them together if you would like.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
All right, so can I get a motion to approve the appointment of Robert L. Wenger to fill the term of Joanne Romano, that will go to 11/23 to the Affordable Housing Committee, David Dombowski to the Bike and Ped Committee, and Joe DiMartino to the Land Acquisition Committee as an alternate. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, very good. We do have Bob, you're here. Hi, Bob. Nice to see you. We have Bob in attendance in person, as well as Joe DiMartino. And I think David is on the line, attending virtually. Yep.
That's correct.
Yep, I see him. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions from the board?
I don't have any questions. I'd like to echo your thanks for the people that served and had to step down for a variety of reasons, and wish all these gentlemen very good luck in your new positions.
And, I'll also say thank you to those who served, and for those willing to step up. I am going to abstain today, mostly because I just didn't have a chance over the weekend to check in with anybody, so I'm abstaining today. Thank you, but good luck and thank you.
Okay. I just want to thank all 3 of you for stepping up to serve on these committees. Obviously, it takes time away from your lives, and it's always appreciated when people do step up to serve, because our committees are very active, and it is helpful to have citizens serving on them. So I want to thank all 3 of you for doing that. And if there's no further discussion from the board, is there any discussion from the public? Would any of you like to say anything? I'm not going to pressure you, but if you'd like to say something, it's up to you. Okay, very good. And David, are you good?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to serving along with my peers and the board. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, David. All right, so no additional comments. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, so 2 in favor, 1 abstention. Motion carries. Thank you very much. And I tell everybody who is on an appointment, you're free to stay, but you're also free to leave. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. And they are taking me up on my offer. Okay, good to see you.
You too.
Okay. Our next item, item number 6, can I get a motion to hear and consider authorizing the purchasing authority to enter into a proposed contract with Werner Construction LLC to provide all labor, materials, equipment, and all necessary to perform the Bigelow Senior Center renovations as detailed in the bid number in the agenda in the amount not to exceed $459,042 with an additional authority to execute change orders to said contract in the amount not to exceed $45,904 for a combined grand total not to exceed $504,946. And the account numbers listed in the agenda. This is the ARPA funds that we approved, if you recall, and this is just simply the contract. And we have Adam, our purchasing director, and James Ryan on hand, in charge of our buildings, and our social service director, Julie DeMarco. I'm going to open it up to the board. Do you have any questions on this item?
I do have my standard questions, is I want to hear that Mr. Baldwin's reviewed the contract and is fine with it. And I want to hear from purchasing that this went through the normal RFP process.
This is Town Attorney Jim Baldwin. That is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. Purchasing?
Yep, Adam Toolin, Purchasing Director. I will confirm sorry, my allergies are acting up today, so my voice might sound a little off. Put out bid number 2023-53. We got 6 responses. Just for full disclosure, we did have an initial low bidder who proved to not be the low bidder. They had some items missing, so Werner Construction ends up being the low bidder, all things considered. That's really all I got.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's the summary. Just so you know, James Ryan, Building Maintenance Manager. I did have plans out just so the board could see what exactly is being done. Is the 3 sets of bathrooms at the senior center are included in this contract, and we will do just 1 set at a time. The 3 sets, just as a reminder. The set of bathrooms across from the cafeteria, the set of bathrooms in the middle of the hallway at the senior center, and the set of bathrooms at the gym, just so you have some talking points if anybody asks. Those are included. They're going to be done 1 at a time, so Julie can keep operations running there, and that's pretty much the summary.
Thank you, James. I'm sorry, can I just ask, I don't think we did a motion. Can I get a motion to approve and a second?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
And just in closing on this, Adam, I'd like to say that this has been a long time coming. And having visited the senior center many times over the years, I'm very happy to see that we're addressing the bathroom situation there, because as everyone remembers, this was a converted school, and some of the bathrooms just aren't as conducive as they should be. So I'm very happy to see this move forward. And my last question would be, I just want to confirm that this budget can be covered entirely out of the ARPA funds as was originally intended. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Nancy, do you have anything?
No, thank you. All set.
Very good. I just want to thank James Ryan for his work on this. And to Tom's point, these bathrooms have been waiting a very long time, and it's exciting to move forward with things that have been neglected for a long period of time. So this is good, all good stuff. And I just want to thank Adam and Attorney Baldwin for their work on looking at everything. Is there any comments from the public on this item? Back to the board. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, James. All right. Our next item is item number 7. Can I get a motion to hear and consider authorizing the purchasing authority to enter into the proposed contract with Race Coastal Engineering to provide consulting services and all else necessary to perform an inventory of the tide gate and flood control structures as detailed in the RFP listed in the agenda in the amount not to exceed $59,750 with an additional authority to execute change orders to said contract in the amount not to exceed $5,975 for a combined grand total not to exceed $65,725. And the account number is listed in the agenda, underwater bridge inspection tenure. And as always, the town attorney has reviewed, and the purchasing department has done all the necessary items that they're supposed to do. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
And I'll second it.
Is there any questions from the board on this item?
Yeah, just, Madam First Selectwoman, I know you just said the town attorney has approved or reviewed all the contracts. Jim, every once in a while you come across something and say, we're working out the details or anything. Do we have any of those today, or can we assume that these contracts are all buttoned up as you would like?
There is one of the agreements that where we are still working out the details that I'm confident rather that we will work those out. That's with the Woodard and Curran agreement, which you will address shortly. But everything else,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you so much. And again, on this, yeah, and on this item in specific, did this come in within the budgeted amounts? Were there any surprises on this item as to amounts?
Tom, I can answer if you can hear me.
I can. Thank you, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, Bill Hurley, Fairfield Engineering Manager. Yes, they both of the phases of this RFP went through the process, and they are within our budget. We did split it up where Race Coastal Engineering is doing the tire gate inspection and inventory, and GZA is doing the underwater bridge inspection for us.
And Bill, this is part of an annual, or not annual, my apologies, but a 10-year program to review these type structures to ferret out whether anything needs to be done further to them. Do I understand it correctly?
That's correct, Tom. And we've worked with both firms before.
With that, I remember the names before as well, so thank you.
Well,
Nancy, do you have any?
No, thank you.
Okay. Is there any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 8.
thank you.
Thanks, Bill. To hear and consider authorizing the purchasing authority to enter into a proposed contract with GZA Geo Environmental Incorporated to provide consulting services and all else necessary to perform the underwater bridge inspections as detailed in the RFP listed in the agenda, in the amount not to exceed $15,008, with an additional authority to execute change orders to said contract in the amount not to exceed $1,580 for a combined grand total amount not to exceed $17,380. The account number is also listed in the on the agenda, and this is again with the underwater bridge inspection. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And again, same presenters. Is there
I
any-
think with the last discussions, they answered my questions on this one as well. Although
Yeah, I
two
don't-
separate contracts, it's kind of a package deal. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. No additional questions from me.
Is there any comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Adam. Our next item, to hear, consider, adopt a resolution appropriating $355,370 in FEMA reimbursement funds to the Board of Education, authorizing the expenditure of such funds on school security. Whereas the town of Fairfield, Connecticut received grant funds from the Federal Emergency Management Agency in the amount of $355,370. The grant funds as reimbursement for money spent by the town's Board of Education in fiscal year 2021 related to the purchase of personal protective equipment. Whereas the town desires to appropriate the grant funds to the Board of Ed and authorizes said grant funds to be used for school security purposes, and now, therefore, it be resolved, the town hereby appropriates the grant funds to the Board of Ed and authorize the grant funds to be used for school security purposes. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. We have Jared Schmidt here to answer any questions. The superintendent is also available.
Yeah,
I'd
through
love,
the, go ahead. Go ahead, Nancy.
okay, thank you. I was going to say I'd love for Ms. Jacobson just to share an overview or offer any insight into this item.
Sure, and Jared and Mr. Testani can also speak to this item. So a broad overview is that the school district had applied through the town for reimbursement funds from FEMA regarding PPE purchases during the fiscal year 21 budget for things like sanitizer, masks, desk shields, all sorts of items that were related to COVID. It went through the town in terms of an application, and it was awarded as a reimbursement from FEMA for those purposes, to which we are now planning on, should this pass through the town bodies, as approved, and Mr. Tostani can speak to this in further detail as you would like, but to use these funds in the same classification under maintenance and facilities classification from which they originally came from, in terms of doing some security upgrades in the district. So that's a broad overview, Nancy. Hope that's helpful.
Yeah, and this was sort of as we discussed around the budget table, if I recall. Is this the same item that we had discussed, and now this is just sort of closing that loop formally?
Yes.
I don't have anything further.
So my questions here would be, and probably for the superintendent. Hello, everybody. Over the past 10 years or so, we've done a significant security upgrade at the schools that's been done in concert with the police department in partnership. Has this also been worked with the police department? Are we continuing those efforts? I assume the answer is yes, but I'd just like a little bit of clarification on that.
Right. Your assumption is correct. We are working with the police department. We're also looking at working with some security consultants as well.
Is working with security consultants new, or were they brought in with the police department?
No, they're
and this is continued work.
no, this is new at no cost. They're just getting some recommendations, and we will work with them as well with some quotations to see what possible costs are associated with those recommendations.
How can it be at no cost? I don't understand. The consultants are working at no cost.
Just working through the police department, but also just through some contacts that I've accessed in the past.
But they're not billing us, is that right? I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Correct.
Okay. But this has been all vetted, and they've been vetted in these recommendations with the police department. I just want to make sure we're continuing efforts there.
They have been vetted. They're also on state contract lists.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any questions from the public on this item? Back to the board. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Superintendent. Angeles? Have a good evening. Okay. Can I get a motion to hear, consider, and authorize the Water Pollution Control Authority to enter into a contract with Woodward Curran for services to include the measurement of the WPCF wastewater facilities performance relative to technical management, operational efficiency, organization, finances, capital asset protection, and other relevant and meaningful focal points, and an evaluation of the physical condition of the WPCF's current assets, including an organizational evaluation as detailed in the April 27th, 2023 proposal in the amount not to exceed $104,000, $84,000 from the account number listed in the agenda and $20,000 from the other account number listed in the agenda. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Tom?
Apologies, I was on mute. Seconded.
Okay. Okay, so this is the one that Attorney Baldwin said he's still working some things out on that, but he's confident they're going to be fine. We have Mr. Bremer here, and as you can recall, this is what we were talking about quite a few meetings over a span of time regarding the operational audit and to look through and see how we're operating the facility and also the assets. I'll open it up to the board.
Madam First Selectwoman, if I may, Jim Baldwin here. Just a technical issue, which is really a Scrivener's error, but the name of the organization is Woodard and Curran. So there's the second W that you see there should not be included. But just for the record, I don't think that you need to amend any motions because it is a Scrivener's error.
Okay,
But for the record.
thank you. Prue will make note of that.
Can we speak a little bit about what this process is going to be, what the output is going to be, and what the timeline is going to be, please?
Sure. This is Tom Bremer. Good afternoon, everybody. Basically, what we wanted to do is have an organizational and operational audit, as well as a review. Well, let me back up. What you should really look at is the proposal of April 27th. That's what the contract is based on. And it's pretty clear in that April 27th proposal, what exactly they're going to be doing. They're looking at an operational audit, an organizational audit, as well as reviewing the idea about replacing everything at the plant itself. They're going to go through all the facilities. They're going to provide us a review of the different facilities, buildings, et cetera. So we'll have a very good sense of what needs to be replaced, what the time frame is, that sort of thing. We're looking at this, when I say we're looking, part of the group that we put together to review this was myself, John Marsilio, the head of DPW, and Matt Manchisi, who's also on the WPCA board, who has an extensive background in this field. And basically what we're looking at is this is really kind of a phase one approach. A phase two approach is going to be a review of the entire collection system to figure out and really it's a review, an independent review of all the capital projects that we think are coming on the horizon. We assume that some may be moved up on the horizon. We assume some may be moved back or later on the horizon, and some may be just kept the same. But we're really trying to get a sense of all the needs that WPCA is currently facing so that we can have a better understanding of exactly what we need to do and what the time frame is going to be. As far as this proposal is going, Tom, you asked about what we hope to get. We're hoping to have a written report that will be submitted to the town as well as WPCA so that people like Mr. Bodie will have a sense of what he needs to focus on and really what the whole WPCA needs to focus on. My sense of timing, when they will be done, I'm going to guess, is probably something on the 4 to 8 weeks time frame. This is not going to take a long period of time, months and months. We're hoping to have this done, I want to say, within 2 months. We'll certainly have a good sense of what everyone's needs are and where to go from there. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, when I look at the schedule, Tom, when I look at the contract, I'm specifically seeing a lot of notations regarding equipment conditions and the technical memorandum. I'm not seeing as much related to how it's organized and the way this should be managed. In the run-up to this and in what's in the agenda, it would appear that those are covered, but I just don't see that in the contract itself. Am I missing it?
Okay, well, I think the best way to answer that is part of the process we did was we interviewed a number of different companies, and what we basically came up with was really a hybrid proposal, if you will, from two different companies. One is Woodard and Curran, and the other is Raftellus. Raftellus, I think, is my sense of reading the proposal was they had a lot of hand in putting that proposal together. They're much more of a, and if they're listening, forgive me, but they're much more of a data-driven, data review kind of company that looks at outcomes and that sort of thing. Woodard and Curran is much more of a boots on the ground, hands-on. They show up and interview people and find out what's going on and who's doing what and that sort of thing. And what we decided, the three of us decided that the proposal should really blend those two approaches together. So you may not be seeing a lot of that in the proposal, the organization and operational audit. But I can tell you from my conversations with Woodard and Curran, that's exactly what they're going to be doing to find out, you know, what are people doing on a daily basis. I mean, one of the things that we're focusing on is, you know, do we have enough people there? What are their jobs? Where do they need to go? In response to questions from Mr. Bodie about overtime and that sort of thing, we decided that we really need to take a look at the operation and how things are being run. So, and it's not a question of, as I have stressed with all the outside consultants, it's not a question of we want to get rid of people and we're trying to save money. That's not the focus at all. The focus that we have is really one of, we want to make this as efficient as we can. And if that means we need to hire more people or stagger shifts or whatever, we've told our outside people that's really the focus. We want to have the best group that we can get there to be as efficient as they can be, whatever that means. So that's the focus, and hopefully we're going to have a report that reflects all that in relatively short order.
Two questions relative to that, Tom. The document refers to a written report. Is it contemplating that there's going to be presentations on this as well to, I would think, first the WPCA and then to this body?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear what you said. You said there's going to be a report and then what?
Presentations.
A presentation? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm expecting that when the report is all done, we're going to consider that on the town side, and I'm sorry?
And Nancy, is that the expectation of the WPCA as well, given they're on that body?
What I would say is that Matt Manchese is on this body, is working with Tom Bremer and has a large say in this, and I am very comfortable. If Matt is comfortable, I am very comfortable.
Is Matt on this call? I'm sorry.
He's no, but what I'm saying is Tom is representing the group here, and I am trusting that that's, you know, the understanding that he has and that was agreed upon. So I did not ask Matt this question personally, so I can't.
So it might be
That, but
it might be helpful if you read the backup. It has all the information about what they're going to do, the audit stuff, and then if you look through it,
Yeah, I've read it.
it has the minutes from
I've read
the WPCA's meeting. And this is going to be similar to what we did with the Conservation Department, where we brought in SLR. They actually assisted us with operations, but they also put together a report that allowed us to reorganize that department. If we need additional staff or if we need to do any additional things, obviously, we're going to have to come forward with funding. It may go through the WPCA originally. Who knows how we're going to work that, but then all those different details will be shared, especially if there's going to be a reorganization, which I am assuming there will be.
Okay, I did read all the backup. I read including the contract itself. The contract itself refers to a written report. What I'm asking is it's also contemplated that there's going to be presentations, because the ability to question a written report and get clarification is important, I think, to all of us. So I want to make sure that it's contemplated that there's going to be not just a written report, but also the ability for at least the WPCA and this board to hear a actual presentation about this.
And I believe Tom said that that would be happening.
Yes, that's correct.
It's not, because
Yep.
I don't see, Tom, am I missing it in the contract? I just want to make sure we're covered here and that's not an additional fee.
No, it shouldn't be an additional fee.
Okay, I know Mr. Baldwin is on here, and I know he said there's a couple of things that are open on this. Mr. Baldwin, can you make that one of the items you discuss with them?
It already is in the context of one of the proposed changes, since this is a lump sum contract. So yeah, I'll incorporate that into our discussions and confirm that there is no such additional fee.
And Tom,
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
if it's helpful, I'm happy, if it makes sense, to add a conditional phrase, if it's helpful to say, on the condition that X, Y, Z, there's a reporting structure.
Yeah, I just want to, I think since Mr. Baldwin has just assured us he'll do that, and Jim, I trust that you won't sign the contract or approve it to be signed without that there. I'd be totally fine with that. I don't need to hold this up or anything officially. I just want to make sure that, we don't just get the written report, but we get a little bit more specificity when we need it. That's all.
Understood. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. And the last question I have is, and I didn't notice this in the minutes, so what the accounts that these funds are being pulled from, what accounts are those, and what might not be getting done, so that we can do this, which I think is very important to get done. So,
You want to answer?
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Jared again. So the two accounts, hey, Tom. The two accounts are the other expenses accounts. The $20,000 is from the DPW's other expenses account, and the other expenses account is the WPCA. And so we have looked at the budgets in total for both of those entities, and that they're sufficient in playing out their budgets to the end of the year, that there's sufficient amount in their budgets in the roll-up code to support this funding.
hey, Jared, I forgive me, I might have, I didn't even think of this, but the way you just answered that, is this coming out of the current year operating budget or next year's operating budget?
Current year.
Current year. So here we are in the middle of May, and we're basically saying within the next 6 weeks, when the funding will be done, we have the ability within the current budget to take care of this.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I've got nothing further at this time.
Nor do I.
Thank you. Is there any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that's the end of our agenda items. I just want to say that I hope everyone had a lovely Mother's Day yesterday. I did have a lovely Mother's Day. My son made me breakfast. And last week, I just wanted to update the board that last week I presented the Ukrainian Aid International organization, who I've been working with regarding sister city designation, our town flag that is going to be delivered and a letter to the mayor in our sister city in Kostran and Ifka. I'm still working on my pronunciation. I'm going to be really good. I'm going to get much better at it. I do want to say I did convene together a steering group of caring, community-centered, or service-oriented residents and business owners to serve on the Sister City Steering Committee to bring together the people who want to help in various ways, and most notably to raise money for a number of items that the sister city needs. I don't know if I had updated the board. I know I had put it in my newsletter that I actually got to have a Zoom call with the mayor of the city, and it was quite humbling to speak to a colleague who is dealing with that, with it being a mayor in a war-torn atmosphere and protecting his citizens. So it definitely was, eye-opening. We did have the steering committee held our first organizational meeting this morning with the Ukraine Aid International, and we started working on our, how we're going to go about and what we're going to do. And I'm really excited. When I have some more information, I will share that. I did also want to share that if you're over the age of 45, we strongly encourage people in our community to take the age-friendly Fairfield survey by June 15th. Younger residents may also want to take it on behalf of older family members or friends, or just to weigh in on your hopes for Fairfield's future. You can tell us what's important to you as you age, share your experiences, tell us what to the extent of which our community is supporting the needs of our Fairfield residents. And for more information and to take the survey, the link can be found in the May 12th newsletter on the town website. The town is also continuing to accept applications for the Fairfield COVID-19 Recovery Fund with ARPA funding. The fund was established in '22 to provide limited one-time assistance to Fairfield residents who had been adversely impacted by the pandemic. Applications must also demonstrate they have exhausted any other assistance funds or available resources for which they may be eligible. And that information can be found by either going on our fairfieldct.org/COVID Recovery Fund, or by calling the Fairfield Social Services at 203-256-3170. And I'm going to ask, I guess, for a motion for us to go into executive session.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
this is to discuss a settlement proposal regarding Joseph Binkowski versus Town of Fairfield with Town Attorney Jim Baldwin and Attorney Rick Aiken. Okay, thank you.